Chiswick, you're voluntary?
Mm-hmm.
Scanlon? Billy, for Christ's sakes, you must be committed, right?
No.
Okay. I mean, you're just a young kid. What are you doing here? You ought to be out in a convertible, bird dogging chicks and banging beaver. What are you doing here, for Christ's sake? What's so funny about that? Well, Jesus, I mean, you guys do nothing but complain about how you can't stand it in this place here, and then you haven't got the guts just to walk out? I mean, what do you think you are, for Christ's sake? Crazy or something?
Hi, welcome to the Bench Movie Club. I'm Charlie.
I'm Lilly.
And in this episode, we are talking about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest from 1975, based on the novel by Ken Kesey.
What?
Ken Kesey. Directed by Miloš Forman, who also went on to make Amadeus and directed Hair. It stars Jack Nicholson, who of course done Chinatown and Shining. I think this was just after Chinatown. I think Chinatown was the year before this. And I think The Last Detail was the one before that, because he got nominated 3 times in a row, Best Male Lead, and the 3rd time this film he won it. Louise Fletcher is Nurse Ratched. She also won an Oscar, Best Actress, for this film. She was also in Cruel Intentions and Virtuosity. Really, I'm surprised she wasn't in a lot more high-profile stuff.
Yeah.
She was really good in it. And her acceptance speech when she won the award, it was like the first time it ended in sign language. She signed off at the very end of the acceptance speech because both her parents are deaf.
All right.
So she wanted to thank both of them for their support.
And if you'll excuse me, for my mother and my father, I want to say thank you for teaching me to have a dream. You are seeing my dream come true. Thank you.
You got William Redfield, who is Harding, who's in Death Wish. And I told you about this yesterday, didn't I? That Dean R. Brooks, who plays Dr. Spivey, diagnosed him with leukemia on set. Said, I think you've got leukemia, I should go get it checked out. I'd give you about 18 months to live. And sure enough, he only had 18 months to live. So throughout the whole film, he's got cancer.
Mr. Harding, you've stated on more than one occasion that you suspected your wife of seeing other men.
Oh, yes. Yes, very much. I suspect her.
Well, maybe you can tell us why you suspect her.
Well, I can only speculate as to the reasons why.
Have you ever speculated, Mr. Harding, that perhaps you are impatient with your wife because she doesn't meet your mental requirements?
Perhaps, but you see, the only thing I can really speculate on, Nurse Ratched, is the very existence of my life, with or without my wife, in terms of the human relationships, the juxtaposition of one person to another, the form and the content.
Hardy, why don't you knock off the bullshit and get to the point?
This is the point.
There's a little background appearance of Michael Berryman, one you thought looked like me, from The Hills Have Eyes, and went on to be a very popular football referee in the Italian league. Scatman Crothers is the night watchman near the end. Everybody wants to be a cat. Who also got killed in The Shining. Spoiler for The Shining. Danny DeVito makes his debut. He of Twins fame and many other things. Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Everything, loads of things.
I don't. Yeah, there's more films with Danny DeVito.
Matilda, yeah. Christopher Lloyd is also in it. Who went on to, be in Clue and Back to the Future, of course, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Addams Family. You know, obviously, both of them became huge after this, and it was also his screen debut as well. Will Sampson was Chief Bromden. He went on to be an outlaw Josie Wales. Sadly died at the age of 53 in 1987, complications from heart and lung operation. He was 6'7".
Oh wow.
And he pretty much got the part just because he was 6'7".
Oh, yeah.
Because in the book,
He's 6'7".
yeah, and they couldn't find any Native Americans who were even remotely that tall. And then somebody who knew him said, "Oh, I know the person perfect for it." Vincent Schiavelli is a small part in it. He's the ghost train ghost.
Yeah.
Get off my train. And Brad Dourif, who plays Billy, he was Oscar nominated. Went on to do, he had a great line of work. He was in Alien Resurrection, Lord of the Rings, and, you know, probably most famous as being the voice of Chucky.
I don't have a problem with killing.
So the film is about McMurphy, Jack Nicholson's character, coming into this mental home where he's pretended to have mental issues just to get out of prison life, and his larger than life character shakes things up, and he makes it his mission to make life hell for Nurse Ratched. And you've read the book, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any noticeable differences?
It is completely different to the film.
Really?
I mean, I would say that there are certain elements that, yeah, you could say, oh, it's the same as the book, but in essence, it's a completely different piece of work to the film. For example, the entire book is from the Chief's perspective.
Yeah.
A lot of the characters are quite different. I mean, Jack Nicholson's character is a little bit more friendly, but also a lot more violent in a lot of ways.
He's like a big sort of red-headed Irishman, sort of broad.
Yeah, and he's and there's a lot of other characters which suffer different things in a way, and also the Chief's character within the film, you would say that he's quite normal. It seems as if he's just playing it up to be in this institution for some reason, whereas in the book, accompanied by all the sketches that are in the book as well, you get the idea of this man being very schizophrenic, and you understand why he's in this institution, because he thinks of Nurse Ratched and a lot of everyone in the institution as being almost mechanical and part of the Combine, and that Nurse Ratched is this, like, I don't know the best way to describe it, mechanical being, and that none of them are really real in a way, but almost as if McMurphy's more real in other ways, as that in essence you can understand why he's in this institution in the book, whereas in the film he's very much a secondary character to McMurphy, and you don't really understand why he's in this institution other than being deaf and dumb.
Yeah. Although he's not an imbecile, is he, in the book?
No.
No. I only mention that because I see a stage production of this in 2000, I think it was 2004, in the West End. We had Christian Slater and as McMurphy, and Mackenzie Crook as Billy. And I remember I liked it. It was interesting. I love the film.
Yeah.
I liked the stage production, but there was a few elements about it. Like, for example, the Chief in the stage production, I think they had him narrating more, but he was an imbecile.
Yeah.
He was sort of like, "This don't go here, da 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 da." And I know I skipped to the end of the book, and just to see how the ending was. It still ends with he lifts up like this mechanical thing or something to sort of throw and escape. In the stage production, he just goes up, picks the thing, I can pick it up, and put it back down. And I thought, it's a shame, because what I love about the character in the film was that it was misunderstood, and from the sounds of it, I think, for me, I prefer the film's rendition of him over the book, because I like the idea that so many people in there, like when he says to there's nothing more different about you than people out on the street. You know, because who is normal?
Yeah.
You know, and all it takes is a run of bad luck and someone to lose their temper or to do something a little bit crazy because they've been given such a bad deal that all of a sudden people decide, nah, he's loony, that guy, because look at him crying or laughing or getting angry. So I like the idea that the chief is more of a product of the fact that his dad, what you mentioned, isn't it, about his dad being an alcoholic, and
but that's also completely different within the book as well.
What is it in the book?
Well, in the book, his mother was white and his father was the chief of a tribe, and he's also a war veteran within, like the chief is a war veteran, and that's part of why he suffers all these things and why he's in this institution. But I mean, I think in a way I do prefer some elements of the book, because it's even though it's technically, I would say that it's an unreliable narrator, because obviously where he is insane in a way that you can't really describe in the book, whereas in the film you kind of just see McMurphy.
So a bit like American Psycho.
Yeah, in a way.
Like, because we're the unreliable narrator.
Yeah. Also, another interesting thing I'd like to point out is the fact that there's a lot of key moments stripped from the film. For example, Cheswick.
Yeah.
He commits suicide in the book as well.
Really?
He when they're in the pool, after McMurphy decides to conform more after he finds out that Nurse Ratched's the one who lets him out, not the other way around in a way, but once McMurphy starts to become more subservient, Cheswick finds that as almost like a betrayal, and he drowns himself in the pool.
Oh God!
Which is a moment that's obviously completely cut out from the film.
Well, there's again spoiler from the book. When I listened to the audio, there's an audio version of it spoken by John C. Reilly, and the ending of that when Billy kills himself.
Yeah.
It's sort of takes a little bit longer. Like she sticks. He's been in the room for like a couple of hours. She waits for the doctor to turn up. She says, "Oh yeah, he's in the office." Doctor goes in there and starts shouting, and then no one runs to the door to see what happens. They just sit there. It's like they know what's happened, and they all turn into McMurphy and say, "Listen, just so you know, this isn't your fault. You know, it's not. Don't blame yourself because he's gone all quiet." And then she comes out and she walks up to him and goes, "He's cut his throat," and starts sort of saying it. And just like how she goes, "And now Cheswick," so I knew that Cheswick had died because I had skipped to the end. And saying basically both Cheswick and Billy's blood is on his hands. She basically says that to him. So, you know, are you pleased with that? She keeps trying to get a reaction with it, and eventually she goes away and into her little room, and he gets up, goes in there and rips her top open and strangles her. And they all go in, and then she comes out. She takes it. Then takes. It's not like in the film. It looks like it's a matter of days when that he comes back to the ward and has been lobotomized. But in the book, it's over about 3-4 weeks or something that he's away. She's not on the ward for about a week, and when she comes back, she can see her face is all bruised and stuff. And during which time, loads of them check out, and the chief says that at that point there's only 3 of them left who was actually on the fishing trip.
Yeah.
Who was still there. But mainly on the film. What do you think of the film?
I mean, I really enjoyed the film. I mean, I wouldn't put it as like a favourite, but I do enjoy the film. I think that it's well made. I mean, after reading the book, I see it as like a different piece to the original thing. Even if it is similar in ways, it's too different for me to really feel like it's the same.
Well, the problem is obviously with books, because books are so huge, you can put so much information in a book, so much story, that this is why they tend to nowadays put things as mini-series. So I could see them, if they ever remade One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, they'd probably remake it as a mini-series, like 8 episodes or something like that, because then they could cram more in it and take their time.
Yeah.
But as a film lover, I appreciate when they streamline a story and cut out loads of elements. You know, if it's not deemed necessary, you can get so much into the film. And you know, knowing the film before knowing the book, I love the film. and the elements that are for me are added in the book, I don't particularly gain any more out of that. If anything, it sort of ruins how I like to see it. As I said, I like to see it as, yeah, they're a bit crazy, the people in there, some more so than others, but loads of them are products of their environment.
Yeah.
You know, and the Institute doesn't particularly help them.
Well, that is still the case in the book. I mean, the way that the chief views it in the book as well, again, it's like, it's all for this, like, goal of, like, this mechanical combine. It is still similar to the way that you're trying to, like, your interpretation. But it's just, in the book, it includes, yeah, like you're saying, obviously you can't have all of that in a film, but there's a lot of bits that I think could have still been incredibly necessary to the film that I wish that they had included, and I wish that they had developed ultimately the most important character in the book, the chief. They didn't really develop his character at all in the film.
Well, I see what you're saying, and there was one version of the script, one of the earlier ones, did have him as the narrator and did have focus on him more, but then the director wasn't happy with how that was. He wanted to focus more on McMurphy, which you can also think, well, because the character of the chief was such a hard one to cast, and even though the actor who played him is a good actor, it'd be hard for him to carry an entire film on his shoulders.
Yeah, of course. But
Whereas,
I think, for example, Ken Casey, I'm not really sure how to pronounce the name.
Yeah.
But he's never watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because he was unhappy with the changes that was made to it. He's never seen it.
Boo-hoo.
No, but for example...
Stephen King doesn't like The Shining. Boo-hoo.
Yeah. But you're allowed to understand that when you create a product, you're going to want it to be fulfilled in the way that you saw it and not have it butchered. You know?
But of course, but this is the thing with cinema, its strength and its weakness is it's a collaborative effort, and it will always go through changes. It will always be different from the script to what ends up on the screen. And if you fall in love with the end product, then you're happy that it wasn't how it first started out. You're happy, for example, O.J. Simpson wasn't the Terminator like they wanted, you know. You're happy, or even with this, the rights for the book were first purchased by Kirk Douglas, who wanted to play McMurphy himself. He ended up being in a stage production, but by the time the film was getting greenlit, he was pretty much too old.
I really would have liked the idea of John C. Reilly, if this film had been made much, much later on, if John C. Reilly had played the role of McMurphy.
Possibly.
I think it could have been quite good.
He looks like the how he sort of described
Or maybe, I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who plays Dexter in the TV series.
Oh no, I don't think him.
I mean, but like if he like did like a Christian Bale type thing and bulked up a little bit and got a bit more muscular, I could see him maybe playing the role.
Possibly, but this is the thing. I don't think McMurphy is muscular, as in sort of like.
No. Oh, sorry.
Go on.
No, I was just agreeing.
As I was saying, Kirk Douglas took too long to sort of for him to really be part of it. He actually then passed it on to his son, Michael Douglas, of course, from Falling Down, Romance and Stone, Children and Isle, Basic Instinct. You know, big star, huge star now, but at the time, I think he'd only done. He'd had the lead in a couple of films. There was one called
The China Syndrome.
But he wanted to be Billy in it.
Yeah.
Michael Douglas. But then he put his work as, because I think it's only the second thing he'd ever produced. He's more of an actor than a producer, but he's done a good good job because of the people he did get involved. Regarding the main part, the actor who the director wanted was Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds!
So Burt Reynolds, who's quite a burly sort of guy, he's a couple of inches taller than Jack Nicholson, a bit broader. I could see how that would work. The studio, then the people who was offered the role before Jack Nicholson was, first of all, Marlon Brando. Mm-hmm. I don't think he would have been good because at the time that was by the point that he'd started phoning things in and reading off walls rather than learn lines. So I don't think that would have really done. I don't think he would have done a great performance necessarily. Gene Hackman. Now, Gene Hackman, I think could have been good because he's quite a big guy, especially back then. If you look at him in French Connection, and he's more Irish looking. You know, he's got fairer hair than, say, Jack Nicholson. Steve McQueen, who was obviously very hot property at the time, but again, Steve McQueen's quite small. And then they went on to Jack Nicholson. Now, they preferred Jack over Burt Reynolds, mainly because it was off the back of the success of he'd had for the previous years. We had Easy Rider, 5 Easy Pieces, Last Detail, and Chinatown. Forman, the director, actually considered Shelley Duvall for the role of Candy.
Really?
Yeah, the girlfriend. And while he was considering her, he went to watch a film that she's in called Thieves Like Us. And one of the supporting characters was Louise Fletcher. And it's when he see Louise Fletcher, he thought, oh, actually, she would be good for Nurse Ratched.
Yeah.
So that's how Louise Fletcher got that role. And then when I was going to make the production, Shelley Duvall said she wanted to play Rose, the other girl. But they turned her down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But if she had been in, then it would have been 3 of the shining actors would have been in the film.
Yeah. Another thing that's different to the film in comparison to the book, so like what's in the book that's not in the film, is McMurphy's tattoos. So one of the symbolic elements, which includes the poker hand tattoo on McMurphy, the tattoo which depicts the aces and eights known as the dead man's hand in accordance to the legend of the poker hand held by Wild Billy Hickok when he was murdered. And obviously, that would have been, that's like a symbolic element that they still could have included in the film, which they obviously didn't. Like, because real people into like cinema would have picked up on it and would have appreciated the symbolism. But
you can also bog things down with details sometimes. You know, sometimes it's not. They've got a lot of details in the film, and it feels real with the film. You know, it doesn't feel like they're just adding things for the sake of it. I think he done. You know, I think he deserved the Oscar for it. It's probably one of his best performances, I'd say, Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
I'd say, I would, if I see a ranking of his best performances and this was number 1, I'd say, okay, yeah, I can accept that.
Also, as well, in the novel, McMurphy's boasting about, like, the girl, she was as young as 9.
I'm getting the word nonce.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That changes it completely. I mean, it's bad enough in the film where he says, like, because he's in there for statutory rape, or his initial arrest was for statutory rape, and he says about, look, she was 15 going on 35. She told me she was 18.
Well, yeah, he still brings it up in the film.
Yeah, that's
sorry, in the book as well. He says 15, but there's a later bit where he also brings up like 9.
Right, yeah, but what I'm saying is, 15 is bad enough, but you could imagine, like, if the girl was sort of quite developed and she could pass as 18, you could kind of excuse him for sort of just thinking, oh, well, she said she's 18 kind of thing. But you still think, I mean, again, you got to make sure you don't hold things by today's standards. Today's standards, obviously, a guy would go, well, I want to see some ID. But it's not like people carried ID about with them all the time back then. So that you can almost forgive him for. It makes him a deplorable character, which I think he needs to be. But 9 is just straight up paedophile. And that's like, no, there's no way you can mistake a 9-year-old for an 18-year-old.
There's a lot more paedophilic like language in the book as well from a lot of the other people in the mental institution. I can't think of any specific examples off the top of my head, but I remember them like shouting things that were quite horrible about young girls.
Is there more like racist terms in it as well?
Yeah, there's also a lot of like racist stuff as well, obviously, but nothing that I can think of off the top of my head.
No.
But I know that I remember reading certain bits that were quite racist.
Lily Tomlin was actually set to play Nurse Ratched, and Louise Fletcher was actually going to be in Nashville, the film Nashville, and they literally just swapped them over, which I think Louise won out of them two, because Nashville is fine, but this one, won five awards: best film, best actor, best actress, best director, and best screenplay, like adapted screenplay. Which again, looking the brief bits of the book that I looked at, I think they've done a great deal when they've adapted it. You know, because you have to consider what you remove. You need to remove a lot because otherwise the film's 8 hours long. So you have to be careful what you can remove and what you concise. And I think I know you're saying, well, I feel there's bits missing, but I think anyone who reads a book would always feel there's some bits missing. But I think it's a great movie. His one-time girlfriend, Angelica Houston, who was Morticia in the Addams Family films, she's actually in the crowd on the pier now when the boat comes back.
Yeah.
And all that regarding that boat thing, all of the cast got seasick apart from Jack Nicholson. Which I can believe because when I was watching it yesterday and you can see the sea in the background of the movement, it looked rocky. And I don't travel well. I definitely would have been seasick, I think.
Yeah.
Both Jack Nicholson and Louise Fletcher witnessed electroconvulsive therapy. Know what he's used in it. Because at the time I was thinking, oh no, that don't exist anymore, but it does. They're still used nowadays. Do you know what it's used for?
No.
For major depressive disorder, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, bipolar. If you're bipolar, they might use it on you. I mean, they look for consent. Say, do you mind if we electrocute your head, like in that film? Catatonia, mania, schizophrenia.
It just seems mental to do that to anyone. That's torturous.
How dare you say that? Is that your head? I know, it just seems such an archaic thing to do to anyone. And when I see it in the film, I thought, oh God, weren't things horrible back then? And to think that they still use that now. I mean, there's a lot of controversy around it because those people who've had it done to them say, I don't feel it helped. And it's a horrible, one of the worst things I've had to go through. So, yeah. And many of the extras in this film were genuine inpatients of the mental home.
Exactly, yeah.
But no, I enjoy the film immensely. I like the score as well. I feel it's quite minimalist. He's got a theme which starts and then bookends the film, and it's got like this Native American type drum pumping for, and I think that's good because I know you're thinking, oh, they've made Chief too much of a secondary character. I still think they've actually given him a lot more than you realise. I think when you watch it on repeat viewings, you see he's always there, he's always present, and he's always, he makes a lot of, it's about his character development more so than anyone else's. Because, yeah, everyone else sort of gets a little bit more confident and a bit happier, but he makes a complete 180 turn from this sort of catatonic man who just sort of stands there, walk about sweeping all day, to someone who's enjoying himself, enjoying life, and as now values life, and he gets his freedom at the end, and it's his victory at the end, really. McMurphy obviously dies at the Chief's hands, but you don't begrudge the Chief for doing that because you think, well, it's a mercy killing. He knows that's not what the kind of character he is. He wouldn't want to be left like a vegetable. He'd want to sort of be put out of his misery.
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't want people seeing him that way.
I can't stand to see him like this.
And that's another thing in the book, when he's brought back in, those of them see him and they're going, that's not him, she's trying to pull a fast one on us. You can tell it's not, look, they've just done like, they've, you know, what are you trying to pull here, eh? To Ratched.
Yeah.
They refuse to believe it's him, but obviously the Chief knows it is him. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoy it immensely. It's a great film, which I can watch every so often, you know.
No, it's a good film.
Good Christmas film.
I don't disagree that it's a good film, but I think in comparison to the book, it's a very different product. So I view it quite differently. But I mean,
we'll do a book podcast. Stop running about, you little bastards. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, kids, give them something to do. Sorry. It's also obviously very influential on cinema in general because you have a spate of films which either large portions or the entire film are set in mental asylums.
Yeah.
You know, things like Exorcist 3, the whole of Exorcist 3 is pretty much set in a mental home. Girl Interrupted, which you mentioned, which is almost like a female version of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in a way. You know, not exactly, but it's very similar. You know, it's similar. It's set at a similar period of time. On IMDb, the film got 8.7.
Wow, that was a good rating.
Mm-hmm. On Rotten Tomatoes, critics gave it 93%, and the audience 96%.
Yeah.
So it's very, very high rating. And again, I have no issue with that. I mean, I agree with you. It's not my favourite film. I love it a lot. It's in my top 100, definitely, which sounds like a bit of a backwards compliment, but it's not. You know, I'm talking about thousands of films I've watched. It's up there. It's very high. It's one of my favourite Jack Nicholsons, and he was my favourite actor when I was a kid. You know, I don't know whether it's because of Batman or Wishes of Eastwick we had on VHS, and that I enjoyed him in that. I thought he was a cool guy. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah.
No, very good film. I think the Rotten Tomatoes was good rating, and the IMDb, so I have nothing to comment really.
So next week, recently, me and Sonny went to see the Grease extravaganza. So we are going to do a review on Grease, take advantage of it, and you know, I love Grease. You love Grease, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a good film.
Is that in your top anything?
No.
It's not.
I mean, it's not a bad film. I mean, this is also coming from someone who played, who was in Grease.
Yeah, who did you play?
I can't remember.
Kaneki.
No.
Most people, my generation above, I reckon, love Grease. I'm pretty sure Sonny likes it as well. Well, he better do, because he's going to review it with me next week. So, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and share.
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 Share. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We call this guy the Chief. He's been here since 1968. Never says a word, never moves a muscle.
Hey, Chief.
Hello. Well, it's about time somebody reached out to me.